Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into one of the absolute fastest growing agricultural movements on the planet, organic farming. But we aren't just going to look at it from a distance. We're getting right down into the dirt to explore the mechanics of this incredibly active ecosystem and figure out exactly how natural methods can actually support massive scale food production. Right off the bat, here's the core mystery we really need to solve. How on earth do farmers grow all these crops without relying on synthetic chemicals? Honestly, it's so easy to define organic farming just by what it lacks, right? No synthetic pesticides, no synthetic fertilizers. But framing it as just an absence completely misses the magic of what's actually going on. Organic farming is definitely not about just tossing some seeds in the dirt and passively crossing your fingers that nature does the rest. Actually, it's quite the opposite. It is a highly managed, totally proactive, and wonderfully complex biological machine. Okay, let's dive into this. We're going to cover what organic farming actually is, how to build healthy soil naturally, we'll look at natural pest and weed management, the broader environmental big picture, the real challenges of scaling all this up, and finally, why your everyday choices actually matter.
So part 1, what is organic farming really? We're talking about redefining agriculture.
To really get this, we kind of need to shift our whole mindset away from treating a farm like a manufacturing factory line and start looking at it as a managed ecosystem. Basically, organic farming emphasizes natural processes and ecological balance. And that phrase, ecological balance, that's the absolute key here. Farmers are out there actively working to create an environment that sustains itself. Because they completely avoid the routine use of synthetic fertilizers and pesticides, they're literally forced to find biological solutions. It's an active, full-on embrace of the tools nature already provides. And just to be clear, this whole approach is heavily regulated. Organic certification standards establish some incredibly strict production guidelines. This ensures that the ecological balance we just talked about is carefully monitored, creating a real framework for genuine environmental stewardship. It basically guarantees that these farming methods are truly sustainable and consistently playing by the organic rules. All right, let's move on to part 2, building healthy soil naturally. This is the living foundation of the farm.
So, the crucial point is that healthy soil is considered one of the absolute foundations of successful organic farming. In conventional farming, the dirt is often treated as just a medium, a sponge just holding the plants in place while synthetic chemicals feed them. But in the organic world, the soil itself is a carefully constructed, living, breathing engine. It has to be robust and healthy enough to do all the heavy lifting of feeding those plants naturally. And building that engine, man, it is a highly active process. Farmers use composting to fundamentally improve the soil structure and its long-term fertility. Then they utilize crop rotation, basically shifting what grows where from year to year, which is absolutely crucial to prevent nutrient depletion and break up pest cycles. Add to that natural fertilizers to provide those essential nutrients, and you've got a system. Instead of relying on a quick synthetic fix, they are literally building the soil's fertility layer by layer, season after season. Ultimately, all of these practices aim to increase the soil's biodiversity. By actively nurturing microscopic life, we're talking bacteria, fungi, earthworms, the whole shebang, organic farmers create this incredible self-sustaining foundation that guarantees long-term agricultural productivity. Think about it. When that subterranean ecosystem is alive and thriving, the crops planted in it will be too.
Now for part 3, natural pest and weed management, or as I like to call it, the farm's immune system.
Without synthetic chemicals, how does a farm actually defend itself? Well, now, what's really interesting about this is how organic farmers completely split their strategies. For pest management, they actively deploy biology. They introduce beneficial insects and use biological controls to basically pit nature against nature. But for weed management, they lean way into the physical. They use specialized mechanical tools and cultural practices to just physically outcompete the weeds without ever touching a drop of synthetic herbicide.
Think of all this as actively building up the farm's natural immune system. To manage these defenses, organic farming heavily encourages crop diversity, which contributes to a massively healthier overall environment. It requires the farmer to work intimately with natural systems, fine-tuning a variety of techniques for their specific local conditions. And it's not just about looking backward to the old days. These farmers are constantly combining traditional knowledge with cutting-edge modern research to stay one step ahead of the challenges.
Let's pull back for part 4, the environmental big picture. Time to zoom out.
When we zoom out, we start to see the massive ripple effects of these practices.
And this brilliantly illustrates how interconnected it all is. For instance, prioritizing healthy soils directly leads to improved water retention, which is just a huge win for conservation. Fostering crop diversity naturally creates highly resilient ecosystems that can actually withstand serious environmental stress. And by keeping synthetic chemicals out of the picture, farmers are cultivating natural habitats that support critical pollinators and wildlife. Every single action taken on the farm sparks a positive, cascading reaction in the ecosystem around it.
Moving on to Part 5. Challenges and future growth. Scaling the ecosystem. Now, because organic farmers are managing this wonderfully complex nature rather than just overriding it with chemicals, there are some pretty intense production considerations. Most notably, this translates directly to higher labor requirements. Just think about those mechanical weed management practices we talked about. That requires some serious physical human effort and time. It also demands continual education and relentless innovation from the farmers. But, despite these massive challenges, the movement is scaling. Organic agriculture continues to expand its global footprint every single year, simply because the long-term ecological and productive benefits are undeniable. And finally, Part 6, why your choices matter, taking this all the way from the farm right to your shopping cart. Let's move on and see how this builds into your everyday life. Ultimately, this entire complex ecosystem connects directly back to you. Growing consumer awareness has completely skyrocketed the demand for organic food. Understanding exactly how these farming methods work empowers you to make highly informed choices based on real transparency and sustainability. It's your demand that acts as the economic engine, allowing these farmers to put in the intensive labor required to build that healthy soil and protect our wildlife.
So I'll leave you with this. How will your food choices shape the future of our sustainable food systems? Because every single time you put an item in your grocery cart, you're literally casting a vote for the kind of agricultural ecosystem you want to see thrive in the world. Now that you understand the incredible living science behind organic farming, you have the power to help drive that sustainable future forward. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep on learning, and I'll catch you next time.